Okay, and now the next step is to combine those equations into a picture. So we're gonna first do the circles, because the circle ones are easier because you don't have to do anything special, but for the straight lines we'll have to learn a special way to get them done. So first of all, just these arrows that comes up, so you can input your formulas in these lines. So the first one is the circle with the center at 0, 0 and the 6, which is the face. So x squared plus y squared equals to 36. Okay, x squared plus y squared equals to 36, which is the face. And then the eyes are at the center of the eye was at -2 and 1. So that's the second equation. So for -2, it should be x plus 2 squared. And then for the y value, it's y minus 1. Squared, and the radius was 1. So that's the left eye. And then for the right eye is the other way around. Is the center is at 2, so -2 squared plus the y value is at 1, so it's -1 squared equals to 1. Okay, so that's the second eye done. And now let's look at the nose equation. So let's peek back at the equations. So you can see the nose equation is y equal to 3x plus 1, which is the fourth equation. So, but this time we are not going to use y, okay? We're going to use it as a function. Like in polynomials, we use a function fx, right? So we're going to write down a function of fx for the 3x plus 1. So this is how we're going to do this. So we're going to write as a fx function, so f bracket x. So that will represent the y instead. So it's equal to mx plus c. So it's 3x plus 1. Now you can see that on the picture, it's a straight line that never ends. But actually the nose is only going from the, when exactly just looking at the x values, it's just in between -1 and 0. So it should be the point in between those circles at 1, and then going down to the -2 value for the y. So it's in between 0 and -1. So to get that done, we have to do this. So we have to refer back to the old fx equations, because the 3x plus 1 is for the fx equation. So we use that letter f only. So you're going to use the letter f and then comma. So now we're going to constrain it. Okay, for the x values, as I said already, it should be in between -1 and 0. So we're going to write that down. It's between -1 greater than x but less than 0. So if I get that done, you will see that it created a condition saying that, oh, it's another point gx now. Now if I, on the fx equation, if I just uncolor that box, you can see that the straight line disappears and all is remaining is another gx function. This is depending on the fx equation, and to constrain it, it's between -1 and 0. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do the flat side of the nose, which was y equal to -2. So again, we're not going to use y anymore, and we cannot use fx now because fx has already been occupied, and gx is also occupied, as you can see. So let's use hx. So hx, because for functions they can use any letter. F is just a normal, the most like often used function. So in this case it's -2. So you can see another line is now developed, but then that line is way too long. And if I refer back to my picture, it should only start from -1 and it ends at around 0.5 on the positive side. So we need to now, for the function of hx, so h function, we need to now constrain it. and it's going to be constrained from -1 to just 0.5. And when you enter that, and like the previous option, I will uncolor that HX option. So just click on the dot, like click it on and click it off, and that becomes your nose. And then we're going to continue to draw the mouth now. So since Hij, let's use JX now. So JX. So for the mouth, it was at -3. And my mouth was a little bit longer. It's from -2 to 2. So for the J function, comma, let's constrain it in between -2 and 2. So that becomes the mouth. And then if I just look at it, so the bottom part of the mouth is at -5. So let's go ahead and input HJK. Let's use KX now. You can use any letter. Okay, just try not to reuse it. But even if you reuse it, the software will help you handle that. So it's equal to -5. And this time, let's look at the condition. It should be in between just -1 and 1. So for the K function, the letter K, we are constraining it between -1 and 1. Okay, so now you can see the bottom part of the mouth is also done. So let's untick the -5 line so that we can see that now. And then if I refer back to my formula sheet, we have still to do the y equal to -2x minus 7. So let's do -2x minus 7. H R K J JX. What was it again? It was -2x minus 7. So equals to -2x minus 7. Where would that be? Okay. So maybe you have used a letter again. This slide is not working. Yep. We've replaced the JX equation. We already used J before, so it will cause a problem. So make sure that you don't repeat that number or the letters of options. So let's change that back to a -3. Not to change that equation. Okay, let's use a new one. Let's use mx. M definitely not being used. So mx was -2x minus 7. -2x minus 7. Okay, now there's the mouth. And then we can refer down that it should be only in between -2 and -1 for the x value, where the line should be drawn at. So it's -2 and -1. So the M condition is in between -2 and -1. So I can tick that off. So next is the NX. So the NX equation is equal to the other side, which is the 2x minus 7. And then for that condition is between 1 and 2. So the N is between 1 and 2. Okay, if I unline it, then you can see that I've drawn the mouth, and all I have left now is the eyebrows. So quickly do them through as well. So let's use Q. Q haven't been used. Let's use QX. Make sure it's not being used. Oh, we have already used. So Q R S T U UX. Let's use UX. And then for that equation, going back to the formula sheets, it's negative 0.5 x plus 2. So it's negative 0.5 x plus 2. That's the eyebrow. And the eyebrow was in between negative 3 and negative 1. So U is a number that should be constrained between negative 3 and negative 1. Negative 3 and negative 1. So I can put that brow on. And then the last one, let's use Vx. Vx. And that should be going the other way. Should be 0.5 x with a positive curve plus 2. Okay, and then for that, the V function should have a constraint that is in between 1 and 3. So 1 and 3. And there we go. And that's should be the drawing that I have converted from a drawing. So let's go back to the drawing and confirm that. So that was my drawing. Okay, and after I decode the equations, I'll end up with this. So yeah, it's looking alike. So I know that I have done everything correctly, and my picture is now converted into a emoji with proper circles and straight lines. Okay, so I can refer back to what I've done here. Okay, so it's a little bit complicated for the constraining of the lines, but hopefully I've done all the examples, and you should have more than enough examples to follow. Thank you.